Hey YouTube, I was just bored and felt like making another YouTube video. And as you can see, I have a pretty sizable Marvel game collection. And now you see, this all started back during the quarantine of the virus that the whole world experienced. And I was just kind of feeling nostalgic, bored, felt like playing some old Xbox 360 Spider-Man games. I'd already finished Spider-Man PS4 and beaten it. And so I bought an Xbox 360 and two Spider-Man games, Ultimate Spider-Man and Web of Shadows. But soon after that, it quickly got out of hand. And now I think I have the world's largest recorded, anyways, Marvel games collection. There's this other one on YouTube I saw, and he has a pretty sizable amount. It's like 7 games or something. It's pretty good. It's admirable, I'll say. I'll give him that. But anyways, I'm just gonna go through each game, say my opinions on it, if you should buy it, because a lot of these are kind of expensive and some aren't worth your money. And I'm just gonna give you my rating on what I think of it, and then after that I'm gonna rank out of these games which 10 are the best that you should buy if you buy any. Anyways, here we go. Starting off here, we got the Spider-Man game. Is based off the first Tobey Maguire movie for the original Xbox. I bought the Platinum Hits version because it was cheaper than the regular version on eBay, and I thought the silver was kind of cool. I don't know. It's kind of it kind of looks weird next to the other games, but it's still alright. Anyways, the back it says, bitten by a genetically engineered spider, high school student Peter Parker is suddenly empowered with supernatural abilities, including spider sense, web swinging, while crawling. Assume the role of Peter, and as he adapts his new powers as Spider-Man, but beware of the city's villains. Won't be pleased to see the new hero on the scene. I'm gonna be honest, I haven't even finished this game. It was okay, the first level, but I don't know, the controls are kind of finicky. Um, yeah, the combat is like iffy. It is cool that they have Tobey Maguire and Willem Dafoe voicing it, and I'll say that Tobey Maguire sounds better here than the sequel game. But besides that, this game is kind of just like meh to me. And also, it's kind of expensive. If you want to buy it, it's gonna be like $20 on eBay. So I wouldn't really recommend this one. Anyways, let's go on to the next one. Now, this game, I recommend this game. I had never really played Spider-Man 2 since it came out in like 2005, which I'm still quite young, so I wasn't even like talking back then. Anyways, so I kind of grew up more with this 360 era, so I never really had played Spider-Man 2, and all I'd seen on it online, like through YouTube, was like the graphics, and I was like, ew, that game looks disgusting. But I bought it during COVID because I was bored. I needed a new game to play, and I was just like bored of doing online school because that's annoying. And I popped it in, and I played it after I played the PS4 game, and I honestly think the web swinging in this 2005 game is better than Insomniac's. Like, Insomniac's probably is easier to control, but in this game, it's like you can do all sorts of things. Like, you can do loop de loops, web slingshots, the momentum's pretty good, and the wall runnings. It's just, I don't know how to explain it. It's just the most control you'll have in a web swinging for a Spider-Man game. Anyways, here's the back. It says, from random crime to global threat, the entire city is relying on you to save it. Do anything Spider-Man can with breathtaking new moves and combos. That's another thing. This game has really good combos. Like, some of them are freaking brutal, man. Like, you can grab criminals and like throw them off buildings and kill them, or like pile drive their head into concrete. It's kind of insane. Anyways, battle Doc Ock, bust street crimes with or clash with classic villains, featuring the voices of Tobey Maguire, Kirsten Dunst, and Alfred Molina. I will say this though, Toby kind of phones in his lines, but I mean it's still nice to have him. And Alfred Molina, he's still good. Web seeing for the first time from rooftop to rooftop across the entire city. Go anywhere, interact with anyone or anything. That's another thing I liked about this game. You can actually go into like multiple buildings and they'll just be like random people doing their thing in there, and you can just join them as Spider-Man. But yeah, this game I would definitely recommend. It follows the story pretty well from the second movie as well, and adds in some extra comic book characters that I feel like expands the universe of the movies. Like, there's a really cool version of Mysterio in this game, and I really like how they twist his origin around. It's still the basics where he gets bamboozled by Spider-Man, wants revenge, yada yada yada, you know. But they do an interesting twist on it, and I quite like it. And plus, this game's pretty cheap now. You can find it at like secondhand stores for like $5, and if you can find it for cheap, I definitely recommend it. And also, I forgot to mention this, but all my Xbox games I'm playing on, or all my original Xbox games I'm playing on Xbox 360, because of backwards compatibility. It still works. So yeah, I definitely recommend playing this game. It's really great. Next, we have the famous Ultimate Spider-Man. I mean, what can I say? Everyone loves this game now. It used to be kind of underrated, but now it's gotten a lot of appreciation. And I'll be fair, it is warranted. This game is really good. I remember this was one of the only original Spider-Man games I used to like want to play as a little kid, because I grew up on the like Shattered Dimensions, Web of Shadows, you know. But I'd see like playthroughs of this, and I'd see like people playing Venom and like eating people. I'd be like, whoa, that's pretty cool, man. So I'd always want to play this game. And so when I figured out it was actually backwards compatible on 360, I was like, no way, that's awesome. And yeah, it's a pretty good game. It's really good. Better than Spider-Man 2? I don't know about that one. Like, playing as Venom is fun and all, but I feel like Spider-Man 2, the web swinging is just better. Like, there's more dynamic to the web swinging. Like, you can pull off more moves, you have more control. The combat in Spider-Man 2, I like the combos more. I feel like it's personal preference when it comes to combat, because this is more like, I don't know, they made Spider-Man feel really bouncy and acrobatic in this game, which was kind of cool. But I just really like the brutal moves you can pull off in Spider-Man 2. I find it more entertaining, personally. And I just also felt like the boss battles in Spider-Man 2 were better. Like, there was more to it, because in this game, at first, the bosses are really hard. Like, let's see. Like, the final boss of Venom is, like, if the first time, until you get the hang of it, it's, like, difficult. Like, punching a brick wall. But once you, like, learn his pattern, it becomes painfully easy. Like, you just wait for him to attack, jump out the way, punch him again, jump out the way, wait for him to finish attacking, rinse and repeat till you beat him. Whereas in Spider-Man 2, I felt like there was more, like, thought in the boss battles. Like, you know, in the boss battle with Doc Ock, you have to actually, like, turn off the switches and dodge him before you can actually even attack him. And then once that's over, you have to, like, dodge each of his tentacles and web them down, which just adds, like, an extra dimension to the boss fights. But besides that, some things that this game improved on that better than Spider-Man 2 is, I'll say the voice actor for Peter Parker in this is actually really good. Like, he's up there with Josh Keane for me from Spectacular. And whenever I read Ultimate Spider-Man, he's the guy who is in my mind reading the lines. And also, the animation is vastly improved from Spider-Man 2. Like, this animation still holds up pretty well today. It honestly, it's really good. It's really good, nice to look at. And the cutscenes as well are really nice. Like, they do this thing where it's like each cutscene takes place in like a comic panel, and I don't know, it just adds an extra layer to this game. It's really nice. And also the story is pretty good. It's the original story, and it used to be canon to the Ultimate Spider-Man comic books, but they kind of wrote it out of the canon, which kind of sucks. But anyways, here's the back. It says, be legendary, be predatory, be both. Swing to the rescue as Spider-Man, then pave a path of destruction as Venom. Play both sides in the most groundbreaking Spider-Man experience ever. Explore and expand free-roaming environment that includes Queens, New York. Oh yeah, that's another thing. This is the only Spider-Man game that actually lets you go to Queens. which I thought was really cool. You could like cross both islands. That was really cool. And then also, sorry, I just forgot about this. But the races, the races in this game are legendary. Like the race music is iconic. Like some of them are really hard though. Like you have to race the Human Torch, and each race after you beat him once gets progressively harder the next race, and the final race is like insanely hard. Like I literally was stuck on that crap for like 2 hours straight. It was no bueno. Anyways, but still, it was fun. So I'd recommend trying to complete the game 100%. It'll just take a lot time, you know. Encounter more Spider-Man characters than ever before. Original story and character illustration by book writers Brian Michael Bendis and Mark Bagley. Anyways, definitely recommend this game if you can find it. I think I got mine for like $12 3 years ago, but since then it's gone up in price to like 18. But I would definitely recommend it to any Spider-Man fan. Alright, so the next game we have is actually not a Spider-Man game. It's a Hulk game. It's called Hulk Ultimate Destruction. This game, freaking legendary. Like, honestly, one of the best superhero games I've ever played. Like, it is just insane the things you can do as Hulk. Like, you know the boxing glove scene from the 2008 movie with Edward Norton where he splits the police car in half and like uses them as boxing gloves on Abomination's face? Yeah, this game created that. You can do that literally on any enemy you want. You can surf on enemies. You can like do WW takedowns on them. You can literally do anything basically as the Hulk. It's honestly insane. But it's great. So here's the back. Experience the freedom to lose control. Time is running out. The search for the cure is intensifying. Your only chance for survival is to fight, to destroy, to unleash the Incredible Hulk. Intuitive and instantly enjoyable with a focus on free-roaming GTA-style missions. Yeah, this game, the combat, the movement is awesome. You can like jump super far. You can run up walls just because Hulk's that strong. It's cool. You can throw tanks. That's how you beat this guy. You throw tanks at him until he dies. You can use missiles and throw them back at the military. All sorts of stuff. And the boss battles in this game are really fun. Like the Abomination boss battle at the end is pretty good. He's trying to like destroy a dam, I think. And then you have to like jump on his head and punch him. It's pretty enjoyable. The only thing I'd kind of see as a problem in this game is the story is kind of just meh. Like it's more of like a fetch quest because basically the story is basically that Banner is just trying to cure himself of the Hulk before the Demon Hulk can take over. That's another thing. This is the first place I think I've ever seen the Demon Hulk, which is like what the Immortal Hulk is now in the comic books. So this game was kind of ahead of its time in that regard, which is kind of cool. And it's actually, you get to fight the Demon Hulk inside of Bruce Wayne's mind, or not Bruce Wayne, Bruce Banner's mind. And it's honestly really cool. Because in that mission, it's the first time Hulk ever speaks in the game, like with words. And because you're inside of his mind, it's like he's thinking, but he's vocalizing as well. And the Demon Hulk's basically like, you're just a scared little child or something, and then Hulk's like, Hulk's no child, Hulk's strongest one he is, and then he like punches him to death in the boss fight, which is pretty good. But yeah, the only thing I have to complain about this game is that the story was kind of like, I don't know, disconjointed, that's the word. And a lot of the story was actually, you had to like read like these paragraphs of just text to get what was going on in between. And a lot of the missions were just like kind of fetch quests to like grab gear so that he could cure the Hulk. And it kind of ends abruptly where he beats Abomination and he's just like, oh no, I guess I can't cure the Hulk. So I guess I'm just going to run around and be Hulk forever. But besides that, it's honestly, the story's not, you don't want to play a Hulk game for story. Come on now. Who cares about a Hulk game for story? You want it for gameplay. for smashing stuff. And this game delivers. Like, honestly, some of the funnest gameplay in a single player game I've ever played. So I definitely recommend it, but this one's also kind of a hefty price of like $20 if you want it, on eBay at least. But I would definitely recommend if you can afford it. Anyways, let's move on. Alright, here we have The Punisher for Xbox. Now, this is one of my more recent games I actually bought after I was running out of like Spider-Man and other games, other characters I was more familiar with to play. And I was kind of hesitant on this game, to be honest, at first. Like, I wasn't sure if it was going to be like worth it or that good. But I bought it anyways. And honestly, this is one of the best games I've ever played. Like, this is like top tier Marvel game right here. It's just like, it is so much fun. Like, it's got a really good story, an original story by Garth Ennis. He's a famous comic writer for The Punisher. And the Punisher just feels like spot on to the comic books. He's written perfectly. The story is really good. It takes you all over to different locations of the Marvel universe, which I was surprised for a Punisher game. Like, you go to like Stark Tower, this island filled with criminals. I forget what it's called. You go to Rikers Island, the zoo, the Central Park Zoo. That's one of the things I really liked about this game. Just each environment is just so different and like fun to walk around and explore. But let's be real here. If you want to play a Punisher game, you want to punish some criminals, not look at pretty environments. So, but this game delivers, man. Like, the amount of crazy ways you can kill people in this game is crazy. But it's okay because they're criminals. Just remember that, kids. It's okay to kill someone if they're criminals. Anyways, you can either like shoot them, just old-fashioned style like the Punisher likes to do, and there's like a bunch of different guns you can choose. Great variety. Or you can like do these interrogation scenes where he'll say, for example, you find like there's like one level where you're in the zoo and there's like a rhino in a cage, and he holds up the guy to the rhino's cage, and he scares him into thinking that he's gonna have the rhino like charge him and impale the guy, so he'll give you information. And if you finish it and you get the information from it, then you can either like let him live or kill him by like the rhino. And if you let him live, you get like extra points or whatever. But come on now, if you want to be lore accurate Punisher, you gotta let him get impaled by the rhino. I mean, no hard feelings. He's probably a horrible person, probably a horrible criminal, you know. That's probably how Frank detaches himself from his horrible actions. But anyways, the story is great. Honestly, like one of the best stories I've seen in a Marvel game. The voice acting is really good too. The guy from the 2004, I don't know, Thomas Jane, I think is his name. He reprises his role in this game and voices the Punisher. And I gotta be honest, I didn't like that movie too much. I thought it was kind of boring. Like, I thought he was fine in the role. It's just it was just, I don't know, it felt slow, boring, not much happening. But this game is like fast paced, keeps going. Story's constantly evolving. New characters are added in. Like, you got Nick Fury in this game. You got Black Widow. Iron Man even makes a cameo, which was cool. But, yeah. And the boss fights in this game also are really fun. And you have to use like unique ways to take them out, like using your environment, like shooting explosive barrels or something for one of them. But also the graphics are really good. Like, the Punisher model in this game looks like pretty accurate, and it honestly just surprisingly holds up. And I would definitely recommend this game to anyone who is mature enough to play a mature game. Because there's some blood and gore and some other stuff in this game. But if you're old enough, I definitely recommend this game. It's really fun. So yeah. Alright, here we have the first game I actively dislike. Spider-Man 3. Now, many people before me have teared down this game, if you can even call it that. But I guess I'll give it some positives. I'll go over the positives. Um, shoot, what are the positives? I like the some of the missions are fun. I don't know. Some of the I like the characters. I like the bosses, not the bosses themselves, because like it's kind of tedious. If you have to like punch them to death over and over again, and it just takes forever to kill the bosses. Like it's if you play the game, you know what I mean. Like the boss's health is outrageous. Like it takes forever just to kill a single boss. But besides that, I like the characters they chose for you to fight in this game. Like you got Lizard, Craven, of course Venom and Sandman, like the movie, New Goblin, and yeah. But I don't know. That's about the only redeeming qualities that this game has. Like the swinging is downgrade as heck from Spider-Man 2. Like it is so slow and I don't know, it's just not fun to do in this game at all. The graphics I would even say are a downgrade from Spider-Man 2. Like the textures are so poorly done and just look so unfinished and just everything is just like so plain looking. I don't know, like it is just bad. Um what else? Um Tobey Maguire, I feel like he does a better job at voice acting in this game. Like some of his delivery is a little better in this game. And I like how the other characters they added. Oh, I like the Scorpion in this game. That's the one thing I like the most. I like how they did Scorpion, where he's like a you have to save him because he's being experimented on by this like evil corporation. And the boss battle with him was probably the best boss in the game, where you chase him through the city and then you fight him on a bridge and like have to shoot down like some mind control beams that are controlling him. Anyways, convoluted superhero nonsense stuff. But yeah, that was probably the best part of the game for me. But yeah, here's the back of the case. Every hero has a dark side. Unleash it. Wield the power of Black Suit Spider-Man. That's another thing. The black suit was so inconsequential in this game. Like all it did is made you a little bit stronger. There wasn't any cool like attacks that looked that cool. Battle Venom, New Goblin, Sandman, and more. That's another mission I liked. I liked the final mission with Venom where you fight him, and it's a pretty good recreation of the final fight from Spider-Man 3, except you actually get to play it now. But the only sad thing about that is that right here, choose one of 10 storylines to play. 10 storylines that don't connect to each other at all. And you have to complete like 43 missions of like dumb side quests that are just uninteresting and a slog to get through to get to the final battle where you can punch Venom in the face, which is honestly the best part, but it takes like 30 hours to get there. Anyways, also, this game is too expensive for no reason. I have no clue why people would want to spend like $30 on this game. Like I got it at a secondhand store. Like I traded some stuff in and got it for cheaper. But yeah, I would not recommend this to anyone who likes themselves. And here we have the legendary Ultimate Alliance game. Now this game is possibly, and you know what? It probably is the most beloved Marvel game besides the PS4 Spider-Man game. Because you always hear how this was like Marvel gaming at its best, or like, um, it's how a lot of people got into Marvel Comics, which is cool. I respect it for that, you know? Like, I'm still currently in the process of playing this game and beating it, but so far, I find it pretty enjoyable, you know? Like, the story is pretty fun. I like how Doctor Doom's the main villain. It's cool. The voice acting's pretty good. The level design's alright. The combat's a little, like, repetitive, you know? Like, every character only it's kind of button mashing and you have to just defeat enemies and keep moving. There's not really any like change to the formula besides maybe like some quick time events here and there. But since you can change between any Marvel character, I it makes it more interesting, you know. Like you can have Captain America, Venom, and let's see, Cyclops on a team. They're just on the cover. But and you can literally just play as like switch between any characters that are in the game, and it's pretty fun to do that. So I'll give it that. But yeah, let's see the back. 8 new playable characters. Now assemble your ultimate 4-member strike force from over 28 Marvel characters. Become your favorite legends that interact with more than 140 characters in this epic action RPG. Online cooperative and competitive play. Innovative combat, playable villains, and more. Anyways, if you buy um the basic version of this game, like the regular version, you just get like you don't get like the villains, and you don't get to play as Hulk either. So if you want that, you're gonna have to like buy the gold edition, which is like it's an arm and a leg. It costed me like $90 or something like that. And once again, I used like trade in some stuff to like a secondhand store and was able to get it for like 20 once the trade was done. But I don't know. If you could find this game for a good price, I'd definitely recommend it. And it's pretty faithful to the Marvel Comics. Like if you want to get into Marvel Comics, want to know what it's all about, this game's definitely worth a play. But I'd go for the if you don't feel like spending if these type of games like these beat 'em ups, simple beat 'em ups aren't like your type of game, you don't like that gameplay that much, or you're just not into it that much, I would go for like the regular version. But if you want to like if you're into these type of games and you like Marvel and you like Venom, I'd go for this version, but it's gonna cost you. But yeah, I'd recommend it. All right, this game is also poo poo. No, bad. It is kind of cool though that it has a Blockbuster sticker on it. It's retro. Anyways, Iron Man is based off the first movie from 2008, but unfortunately, unlike that movie, this game is kind of trash. I played through the first mission. Was pretty. It was serviceable. I could tell it wasn't gonna be like the best game ever, but I was still committed to trying to finish it and beat it. But then I got to this one mission where you have to like fly around and like destroy like 8 different like turbines or some crap on like a tank, and it was just super difficult and like tedious. And you get super close to beating it and killing the tank, and then you just get like shot out of the air because of some bull crap. And I don't know. It's just not fun. Like it's more of an emphasis on the flying. Like you can't really like combat. You can't really fight people hand to hand. You can only just fly around and beam them with the same animation over and over again, and it gets kind of tiring. But yeah, it is kind of cool that Robert Downey Jr. voices his character in the cutscenes. But I mean, that's not that big of a deal to be honest, because most of the movie tie-ins have the main actor voicing it. So yeah, I would not recommend this game. It's kind of trash. Another one of the most beloved Spider-Man games, Spider-Man Web of Shadows. Oh boy, yeah. This game is awesome. Come on now. You know this. The combat in this game is so fun and dynamic. Like, so if you haven't played it, or haven't even heard of it or seen any videos of it, which I doubt you haven't, but just in case you've been living under a rock, you switch between the black suit and the red suit, and you can do that on the fly during the game. And each different suit has like different move sets. So the red suit is more about like fisticuffs, hand to hand combat, and stuff like that, and the black suit is more about like tendrils and stuff like that. And you can mix and match the different moves and switch seamlessly between red and black suit and do some insane combos in this game. Like I've probably beaten this game I've beaten this game multiple times. I ain't gonna lie, like, and I'm still discovering new moves and stuff that you can do. But yeah, this game is just so much fun. Like the boss battles in this game are freaking legendary. You used to fight Wolverine in the black suit and just like a dark alley, like a grungy alley. It's insane. You get to fight Venom a lot. You get to fight symbiote versions of like different characters because the story is that symbiotes basically take over New York. It's pretty simple, not the best Well, it gets the job done, you know. But it's not the most complex story. But see, a deadly symbiote invasion is devastating New York City, consuming buildings, infecting citizens, and wreaking complete havoc. How far will you go to save New York? Fight on the ground, up walls, and into the air in an all-new fluid combat system. Side with heroes or villains depending on your actions. Switch freely between red suit and black suit, each with its own unique fighting style. Another thing about this game is they'd have certain points in the game, like say you just defeated a boss, like for example, Wolverine later gets turned into a symbiote, and after you defeat him, you can either choose the red suit option or the black suit option. And the red suit option, you know, is like classic Spider-Man. But if you want like gangster Spider-Man, like you choose the black suit option. He'll freaking rip Wolverine in half and like absorb the symbiote out of him. It's crazy. But yeah, your choices based on if you choose red or black impacts the story. And I think there's like 3 different endings, and each ending is different. Or no, there's 4 different endings. There's 2 black suit endings, which are like evil, and 2 red suit endings, which are good. But yeah, the endings are really cool, and it adds a bunch of replayability to this game. And the bosses are good, and the graphics are pretty good, considering it's from 2008. It just has that more realistic. It just has that more realistic look, which kind of doesn't age as well with older games, you know, because that's what new games go for, and they do it so much better because of the better tech. But besides that, I definitely recommend it. But this game, I saw it blow up when No Way Home came out, but it's kind of like gone back down in price. But it's still gonna cost you like at least like 35 at the lowest, I think, on eBay is what I saw it for. But this is definitely recommended. Like, it's really fun. The gameplay in this game, like the combat, I feel like is better than the PS4 game. It's just so much fun. But yeah, I definitely recommend it. Alright, next we have X-Men Origins Wolverine. This game, another legendary game, right off the bat. Up there with Hulk Ultimate Destruction and the Punisher game. It's just insane. Like, this is comic Wolverine to the max. Like, this might be even more extreme than comics Wolverine because, like, the blood is actually, like, 3D and crap. But you literally, unlike the movie, this, by the way, the X-Men Origins thing, just ignore that crap. It's nothing like the movie. Like, this is a great game. Like, first off, you got the man, the myth, the legend, Hugh Jackman voicing Wolverine. Like, come on, you can't beat that. And he actually does a great delivery. Like, he's up there with Steve Blum from like the animated stuff. But he does an amazing job voicing Wolverine. The combat in this game is insane. Like, you just eviscerate people as Wolverine, and it does not hold back. Like, he can do these crazy finishers where he like lifts them up into the air and like stabs them to death, or, like cuts them in half, or like throws people into helicopter blades, leaps around the map. Oh yeah, that's another thing. You can like lunge at people from like 10 feet away and just like lunge at them, and it's crazy. Like they just like scream. They're like ah, because Wolverine's lunging at you. Like, what are you supposed to do? Nothing. You die. But yeah, the gameplay in this is really good. The boss battles in this game are also really good. Like, there's a one boss battle which anyone who's ever heard anything about this game probably knows about, but it's the boss battle where he fights a giant sized like what are they called? Sentinel from like the comic books. Like the killer robots that kill mutants, and you just fight that thing as like a tiny little Wolverine, but you come out on top because you're just Wolverine. But yeah, I don't have to say much about this game. It kind of speaks for itself. It's really good. Um, I definitely recommend getting it if you can. I was about to move on to the next game, but I just forgot to mention that one of my favorite things in this game is that they actually let you wear like the yellow costume as Hugh Jackman. Like, it's Hugh Jackman's voice coming out of the yellow costume, and people will always say like, "Oh, the yellow costume will never work on screen. Oh, it's too impractical." And I'm just like, quiet. It just feels right playing in the yellow costume in this game. Like, the ultra violence like it contrasts with the cartoony yellow suit for some reason. I don't know. It feels right, and especially with Hugh Jackman's voice. So I really hope if they give us a Wolverine in the Marvel movies now, that they let him use the suit with like the ears and stuff. But yeah, that's all I have to say. Here we have Spider-Man Shattered Dimensions, another legendary Spider-Man game from the Xbox 360 era, and my personal favorite Spider-Man game of all time. This game is just, it's so good. Like, next to the PS4 game, I'd probably say this is the most polished and put together um, Spider-Man game out of the rest. Like, first off, the graphics in this game for a 360 game, they honestly, they kind of look like they could be next gen. Like, they look like they could be Xbox One graphics. Because of like the art styles. Like, each Spider-Man, they let you play, has a different art style. Like, Ultimate Spider-Man has a cel-shaded art style. 616, this guy right here, red guy, he's got like a old comics filter art style, which is cool. But anyways, since they don't go ultra realistic like Web of Shadows, the graphics hold up much better, and they look really nice. Like, it's just really nice to look at. And speaking of the different Spider-Man, this game lets you play as Spider-Man 2099, regular Spider-Man, Noir, and Ultimate Spider-Man with the black suit. And each level is a different villain from each respective Spider-Man. So, like, the first level you play as regular Spider-Man, and you fight Craven. And, like, the second level, I think you play as, like, I think it's Noir. You play as Noir, and you fight, like, Hammerhead. And each level, with corresponding to the different Spider-Man, is, like, in a different time period, different dimension, and different area. Like, you'll be playing as regular Spider-Man, and you'll be fighting Craven in a jungle, or you'll be playing as Ultimate Spider-Man and be fighting Deadpool on a oil rig in the middle of the ocean. But yeah. And the premise for this game also is, it's literally like Spider-Verse. Like, this game is way ahead of its time because it's practically the first Spider-Verse. It was written by the same guy who actually made the Spider-Verse comic book, Dan Slott. And basically the premise of the story is that the main Spider-Man is like, he's like, sees Mysterio in a museum, goes to fight Mysterio. Mysterio's trying to steal a tablet that's like magical or something. And then the main Spider-Man breaks it, the tablet shatters into different dimensions. Different villains from each different Spider-Man's rogues gallery takes a piece of the tablet to get ultimate power. Then you have to play as each respective Spider-Man to beat the villains, get the tablet, save the day, you know. But there is like some twists and turns along the way. It's not all that straightforward. But I won't spoil that in case you want to play. But yeah, each different Spider-Man is really cool. Their gameplay's quite different. Like 2099 is more fast-paced and like uses his claws and is more like, I don't know, visceral. Like, he slashes at people and stuff. Ultimate Spider-Man, he uses the black suit, so it's kind of like Web of Shadows combat. But there's like this rage meter that you can press, which goes like, makes him go insane and like kill a bunch of people. It's awesome. Noir is like stealth gameplay, which is, it's basically like the Batman Arkham series, which people have complained about and criticized, but I'm gonna be honest, I don't really care because it's just done so well. And the Noir worlds, like the level design in this game is just amazing. Like, it might be the best level design in any Marvel game that I've played, at least. Like, it's just so like, the levels are so immersive. Like, you really feel like you're in that universe or that time period. And then amazing, he is kind of like, it's kind of like the 60s show. They pay homage to that, where he's able to like make his webs into different like physical battle weapons, which is pretty cool. But yeah, another awesome thing I love about this game is that each of the Spider-Man is voiced by a different voice actor who had voiced them before in like a previous cartoon role. So we got like, what's his name? The guy from the new animated series, I forget his name, but he's good. He voices him. He voices amazing. We got Josh Keaton who voices Ultimate. Christopher Daniel Barnes, who voices Noir from the '90s show. And then we got Dan Gilbazan, who's from like the Amazing Friends show, who voices 2099. And I think they all do pretty good. And this game is just really fun to play. Like, each level is so unique and different from the last. And it's just like every Spider-Man villain you'd want is in here. Carnage, you got him. Hobgoblin, you have him too. Green Goblin, you want him? Okay, you can have him as well. Sandman, sure. Even other characters that aren't like typically always Spider-Man villains are in this game, like Deadpool and Juggernaut. And then the ones that are typical Spider-Man villains have a neat twist on them, like a different dimension version. Like Vulture, like no one cares about Vulture. He's just a stupid old man in a freaking Vulture suit. But in this game, you play against a freaking cannibal Vulture who ate this version of Spider-Man's uncle, and like it's creepy as heck, bro. Like it's crazy. But yeah, I'd definitely recommend this game. It's probably my favorite Spider-Man game they've ever made. I honestly like it more than PS4 game. It doesn't have free roam though. It's just level based, but I still think that it's short enough, and each level is like perfectly what's the word, paced, so that you never get bored.